this guy? Who's this guy? Huh?
Oh,
Taking all them pictures.
Yep.
don't take a picture of me.
Oh, heaven.
I'm getting a picture of everybody.
No, that's good. Here comes.
The band would come to surprise.
Oh yeah, I don't think Dad knows a thing. When I talked to Mom, he didn't suspect a thing.
What time do you think?
So.
So he'll probably say, the weather's so bad, we gotta stay home
Yeah,
tonight.
let's not go out tonight.
Let's not go out.
That's probably what they'll say. Says, no, we have to go out.
So what time is it, right?
It is 6:30. Hello, Janet.
I
Hi.
have 200 cars, so we've been sitting out there for the last 20 minutes and it's ready to train.
I'm anxious to see what your dad says we want.
I know, I can't wait to see his reaction. Cake. Pictures of Dad.
Who made the cake?
I don't know, I bet Mom probably ordered them.
I've never seen that one before.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. Or that one over there, I wonder if who the other person was supposed to be. It looks like it was kind of cut off. What if it was Joyce Stilley's husband? Richard, yeah, maybe Richard. I mean, and there's this picture of Dad. Holy cow! Huh.
Mom probably gave him that one.
Probably.
And this one identical to it.
Yep, I think they have the three. Oh yeah? I've never tried.
I see John. Grandpa!
You're supposed to say happy birthday or
Surprise! Happy birthday!
Hi!
Look at John, I get that picture! He was stupefied. Hey, you did it.
What are you doing here? Hello. Nice to see you, John. What are you doing here? We're having a public organizational meeting. I can't believe it. You aren't supposed to be here.
Hi, Judy. How are you? Nice to see you. Happy birthday.
I have no idea. Gotcha, huh?
This is supposed to be Shirley's birthday.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I just got home from work, Dick. I know
You're a hard state worker.
I know
all about
dedicated.
it. You're never quite at a loss for words, right?
Always. How you doing?
Congratulations.
I can't believe this.
You mean they really surprised you?
I think so. No, not bad at all.
Well, we've done something.
Probably wasn't good, right?
Can we put this thing up on a tripod?
Get lipstick on.
Metal scars.
Well,
They said this.
Make the round.
it's locked. It's locked.
When I got here.
Say hi, Connie.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Good.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad you're here too.
Hi, how are you?
I think you wish to try
Happy birthday, going to yell Happy New Year.
Can't believe this.
Doors. He had no clue what was about to happen.
Ever done this one? Nice to have a son sitting on the back. Oh, not you. Not you. That's gonna be a wonderful day. You're here all by yourself.
High school, there's a chair.
Nobody will be here. This is John's sister Jan.
And Charlie's here.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Made it down. Well, because Dad's name is Charles, he always just nicknamed me Charlie. So only a few select people call me Charlie. But that's fine. No, unfortunately she couldn't make it. Then she has the flu, and then Andy has a wrestling meet tonight. So it's like, just stay home and take care of business. Get better. But we have Trudy here, so that's good. I'm getting Grandma again on the video camera. Yep, I'm just getting everybody.
I just had to get out of the river. But we did have to scratch. That's what I was saying.
Hello.
We're missing Debbie.
Yeah, I wish she could be down here too. But she's got the flu.
Oh boy.
And yeah, and then Andy has a wrestling meet tonight, so unfortunately they had to stay up there. But Trudy and I are representing the family. Just trying to get everybody. I'm glad we were able to come down here too. Yeah, I had to work tonight, so I couldn't come down.
You all know our son Ken?
He's been kind of.
Met his daughter too.
Yep.
Oh, Trudy.
Trudy's
Yeah, she's got her haircut.
Yeah, she did.
She said,
Make you feel young again.
Surprise, surprise.
I feel sorry for him.
Yes, somebody needs to do something about
This is a song that I like to sing a lot. It's because it just shows people a lot about how they care for each other. And it goes like, you are my strength when I am weak. You are the treasure that I seek. You are my all in all. Seeking you like a precious jewel. Lord, to give up I'd be a fool. You are my all in all. Jesus, Lamb of God, holy is your name. Jesus, Lamb of God, holy is your name. Taking my cross, my sin, my shame, you're raised up, I praise your name. You are my all in all. When I fall down, you pick me up. When I run dry, you fill my cup. You are my all in all. Jesus, Lamb of God, holy is your name. Jesus, Lamb of God, holy is your name.
And next we have a word from John's brother Larry.
Be kind.
Don't worry about turning 65. If anybody tells you getting old, just hit them with your cane.
All right, who's first?
Several years ago, Shirley called me to come down. I went down. John wanted me to come in and farm with him. And I didn't know what to do. And he told me what the benefits would be. And I went over to Mom's. And I don't know if Mom always had the right answers, but I had somebody to blame in case it went wrong. And she listened, and she said that Pickles Bowman worked for John for several years. And he passed away. And then Cappy Smith worked for him for several years, and he passed away. She said, if you like that kind of work for him. She said, I certainly don't like the retirement program.
You were wise.
All right. The next will be from Colin Fetlin.
Cleared him off for a little bit, John.
Am I in your way, honey?
This is going to be a small crowd. I don't do this very well. I thought it was just going to be a couple tables. So maybe this isn't going to work.
Yes, it will.
Will it?
No,
It'll work.
It'll work.
No question.
We're planning on it.
Huh?
We're planning on it.
We're planning on having it work? Okay. Shirley asked me to say a few things about John, and how we got started.
There's equal time here now.
If anybody gets tired and wants to take a nap, go ahead, because this can take a little while. But anyway, I've got a few things here for John.
Uh-oh.
This is good. Okay. Anyway, in 1981, our band was playing in Plymouth, Iowa. And I kind of knew a lot of the people that always followed us around. And I was 2 or 3 couples that came in Plymouth, which we didn't know. It was John and Cheryl. I don't know who, what they were celebrating. I can't remember. But anyway, they came down, and as a rule, on our breaks, I'd go around and talk to people. Well, I found out it was John and Shirley Clemons, and like I said, I couldn't remember that. And I watched people dance, because that's all I had to do up there, was just watch people dance, and they were pretty good dancers. So I thought, well, they should probably have a little trophy here for dancing. Anyway, as the times went on, it kind of, then they invited us down to, they built a new building down. They had a Seacorn deal, so they invited us down there, and I noticed that he had a lot of old cars. And we got talking about old cars. They followed us a couple places in Garner, and we got talking about old cars, and we thought, the more we talked about it, the more we went out looking for old cars. So we started hauling old cars into the farm. Shirley wasn't very happy about that. But it kind of started looking like a junkyard. But that's the way it was. And John's always wanted a Corvette. So I thought I'd give him a Corvette. There it is.
Thank you. Outstanding in class.
Outstanding in class. Anyway, as we went on, we had a few hobbies that we did. We did a lot of, funny things like when they were still living on the farm, they Shirley had this convertible, so we decided we were going to go garage hunting, garage sales. So we all got in the car and we decided to go, and I forgot to get the prop. Okay. Anyway, we're driving down with a convertible with the top down and probably having a beverage. Pop, I think. I'm not sure. I think pop. Anyway, this grasshopper, we invented grasshoppers, by the way. One flew over the thing, landed right in the drink, and there it sat. And that's a fact.
This is for real.
Original grasshopper.
That's right. And a few years later, we started playing golf, John and I. And we were pretty good. But our wives couldn't understand why it took so long to play golf. You know, we'd get home at 12, 1 o'clock, and they didn't think we were playing golf. Well, we were. We invited night golf. We really did. We came out with night golf, and this is how we did it.
Got a bulb right on the top of it.
No.
You hadn't seen it before.
And it really works. We invented that, guys, so if you guys need them, we do have quite a supply. But later on, the girls decided to play with us, golf, and so now we play best ball, and we can't get by with playing night golf. But anyway, then they graduated to this, moved up to Clear Lake, had a couple cottages. They bought one, we remodeled it. They bought two, then we remodeled it. Then they decided to remodel the other one again. Then we remodeled the other one. Got all done remodeled, and then they tore it down and built a new one. So, which is nice, and it's beautiful. Nice house. But then we come up with the 3 Bs. They got the boats, beaches, and bikinis, right, John? That's what you always told me.
I hope so.
So that leaves the last thing, and it's kind of the right time to do this. You know, it isn't the color of the beer that John buys, but it's Bush beer. I don't know. I thought it'd probably be, Bush beer. John and his bikini and Bush beer. I thought he'd probably like that. Right, John? Anyway, we've had a lot of fun with John and Shirley through the years. Good friends are really hard to find, and I think we found some. Really, we have. And I'll get this thing glued back together. I'll give it to you.
Next we'll have Dick Forbes. You're on.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Oh boy, I'll tell you.
Good steak burger.
Is this your son, really? He's a pretty nice guy. I jotted down a few things that John and I used to work together. And
Dick trained me, in fact.
yeah, I did. Yeah, that's the reason he's no good. But anyhow, I can't remember all this stuff because I'm getting older too, you know, just like he is, and it gets tougher to remember. And I want to thank Shirley for asking me to be one of John's roasters. And to be quite honest, I only came here for the free booze, and I know I didn't have to bring a gift. So, anyhow, actually, I wouldn't have passed up this opportunity for all the gray hairs in John's head. I waited a long time to tell Clemons what I truly think about him. And
Now my mother's sitting here.
this is
And that's my aunt and brother and sister and
Well,
son,
I'll tell you what.
granddaughter and Shirley and hopefully some friends. Be
This
careful.
is what I said. Do you think John's mother will be here tonight? This bothered me. But anyhow, you see, I was the lucky guy who was assigned to train John on his state job. And I'm a little embarrassed to admit that considering his job performance, I was the one that had to train him. Of course, I was the only one in the ag department that would take on the job. It was too doggone tough. So he will relate to all this, I'm sure. And everybody else refused. And actually, after John signed on, we had tremendous turnover in the office. Nobody wanted to stay there anymore. John really didn't learn very quickly. Some days it was some days it was sheer exhaustion while trying to train him. He couldn't pick it up, and well, some days we'd just finally give up, and we'd go to the well-known agriculturist, you know, Mr. Jack Daniels, hoping he could help a little bit of us. But actually, this wasn't on state time now, John.
No,
This
after
was
4:30.
on our own time. And I gave quite a few years of my life to the state job too. And now I'm suggesting that John is a little slow, you know. I'm telling you, he is damn slow. You know, the only promotion John ever got was from the 5th to the 6th grade, and he was so thrilled that he cut himself shaving. It's hard for him to remember all these things. They were so funny. John claims to have been quite a good student, always getting 100 on these exams, you know.
She was my teacher. She was my teacher.
Well, just a minute. 25 in English, 25 in science, 25 in arithmetic, and 25 in history.
That's perfect.
Part of John's problem is that he's always been so darn stubborn. And his favorite expression was, "My mind is made up and do not confuse me with the facts." You also don't want to go any place real fancy with John, you know, like the Des Moines Country Club, or, you know, even here. He has a tendency to embarrass other guests. I won't discuss this in detail, but there are witnesses here tonight. We've got Shirley, Connie, and Bev. They all know about
Yeah.
that.
We know.
As John has grown older, he's begun having those precious, too frequent senior moments. Recently, Shirley asked him, "Do you remember, honey? Do you remember me, honey?" I'm the woman you asked to marry you 44 years ago. Ah, yes, John replied. So did you? I wished I could remember this all by heart, but too many things, just too many things. And we all know that John is pretty thrifty, but I have found him to be a little ridiculous on occasions. When he and Shirley were preparing for their cruise, Shirley wanted to buy a new bathing suit. John said, "No, there's nothing the matter with the old one. It just has a hole in the knee." Just that comedian, though, he just laughs at his own joke. Oh. Okay, John, all ribbing aside, seriously, happy 65th birthday, and glad you're finally catching up with me. Really, you're one of my favorite people and one of my best friends, and I treasure you and a very special friendship that we've had through the years, and we're looking forward to having more good times with you and Shirley. And John, this is a little, I don't know what you'd call this, but anyhow, it's the following quote captures your place in my heart. Some people come into our lives and quickly go. Some people stay for a while and give us a deeper understanding of what is truly important in this life. They touch our souls. We gain strength in the footprints they have left on our hearts, and we will never be the same. Happy birthday, John, and we love you. Your friends.
Should we explain that about the country club at Des Moines?
Well, we'll give that to Connie. Sure.
Maybe, why don't the two of you relate what happened there?
Connie and I,
We went,
we wouldn't do that.
we went down for the inaugural ball, and we went out to eat, right?
Problem with the oil and the pepper?
Bev said the only problem was Dick and I sat together.
We had a good time, though. We might have embarrassed them, but we had a really good time.
That's right. It was fun.
Anyhow, that was great. Thanks, John.
You bet.
All right, next we'll have Monica.
This is the Forbes family, connected with the ones that ran for the presidency, and this is his daughter. Be nice, Monica.
Oh, I wouldn't be anything but nice to him. The gentleman that just spoke was my father. I know he looks way too old to have a daughter so young. Anyway, I'm not a public speaker by any stretch of the imagination, so bear with me. But I've known John for several years, and I know him because he and my father worked together for the great state of Iowa. They both served very well and still serving. But over the years, I've heard many stories about some of John's relatives, and ones that stick out in my mind are his Uncle Maynard and his cousin Larry Lemon. And I wonder if you ever did find Larry.
Not yet.
Poor guy.
Still looking.
Okay, good. When my father retired, he appointed John as the official Dairy Queen inspector for the state of Iowa. And I think he's probably doing a fine job.
Working at it.
Good. There is one good thing you can say about John. He really puts one good day's work into a whole week.
There's my teacher back there.
I understand that John and Shirley recently, or this year, took a trip abroad, and I was wondering, how it is to drive a rental car in a foreign country? Encounter any problems? Maybe
Yes.
racks and curves and mirrors? Oh
Yes,
my.
all of them.
And I also understand, or is it true that they have different dress codes on the beaches over there?
I don't know. I was walking with my white cane. I couldn't tell.
You didn't take any pictures then?
Shirley did.
Well, in all seriousness though, John, you've been really a great friend to me and my family, and helped us through some tough times.
Thanks, Monica.
Here. You have to understand, I work in the medical profession, and I do have access to certain things that not maybe everybody would have access to.
Do I dare?
Happy birthday, John.
Monica, I don't know if I will.
Happy birthday, John. Happy birthday, Shirley. Thank
Better look
Come
at
on, John.
Check it out.
I'll put my glasses on to make sure I can see what it is. It's empty. It's empty. I lucked out.
Trudy, leave the room.
Come on, John, open it up. Let's see it. Hurry, hurry.
I'm kind of slow here. I can't read it.
I'm excited.
Ta-da! Thank you, Monica. How did you know? Did you drop it, Colin? This time?
Probably did.
It's full of all sorts of little ones.
Well, you're not going to show us. Is it too bad to show?
I don't know. My glasses are fogged over.
Thank you, John. We'll talk about that later. And, 65 years, that's quite a milestone. But, I'd like to say that unlike most of you here, I haven't known John very long. And in fact, I'd have to say that I've had the pleasure to only know John a short time.
Good or bad?
And because of that, not having the history that that you do, I had to interview John to find out something about his past. And so I thought this was a toast. And so when I was asking him, I was trying to find out nice things about John and not things that might be embarrassing. But the thing is that I couldn't find very many nice things. Nobody was willing to come forth, so I had to try and do the best I could. But the problem is that he had trouble remembering. When I tried to talk to him, he kept saying over and over, it's just really hard to remember that far ago, And it was just like he thought that as he got older that things would be more clear, and people as they get older have a tendency to remember things in their past more clearly, and their short-term memory goes. John, you've got no memory. You lost out all the way around. Well, anyway, since then I found out it is a roast, and so I'm going to use the same material anyway because you won't remember. So I've talked to John a little bit here, and he said that some of his fondest memories were back in high school. And I'm going, oh, geez, that was a long time ago. Where was that, John? Was that Missouri?
No, that was in. Where should I say?
Missouri always beat Thornton.
Oh, there was a Thornton?
Yeah.
You went to school in Thornton?
Yes.
But Missouri would beat Thornton in basketball.
Well, it's funny.
Time out.
It's funny you should bring that up. That wasn't his recollection at all. Oh, gosh. Oh, the light is terrible here.
There is no light up there.
Yeah. I should use hers. Well, anyway, John told me that back in high school that his nickname was Big John. And he always took that as a compliment because he thought that that was kind of a spin-off on Jimmy Dean's old song, Big Bad John. But unlike Big Bad John that was 6'6" and 245 and kind of broad at the shoulders and narrow at the hip, John, conversely, was narrow at the shoulders, broad at the hip, 5'6", and weighed 145. But he also told me that he was a star in basketball. And I said, well, how did that go? And he said, well, at my high school, anybody that could walk and chew gum at the same time was automatically a star because there was only 5 of us that could do it. And I said, okay, that sounds good. And then he said, well, you know, my high school basketball career did not start out with a bang. So one day the coach came over to John. He said, John, I noticed you're having trouble. He says, you've got to look at basketball like this. It's kind of like a dance, kind of like a ballet, if you will. And so, you know, John takes things very literally. So as soon as John got the ball, the next time he's in the game, John is dancing down the floor and doing pirouettes, and the coach is embarrassed to hell. So anyway, that was kind of bad in John's hometown to kind of be doing things like that. But then the real shaker, the thing that really made John a star, was the fact that when he shot, it was like... And of course, the way he got to be a star was after he would do that. And of course, nobody was within 10 foot of him. They didn't want to be anywhere around him. He scored at will. Okay? So, anyway, that was how he became a star. Then he went on to tell me that school was very exciting for John besides sports. And he said in the days before anybody had ever heard of attention deficit disorder, John's teachers used to describe him as an active child. He was always chasing the girls around the playground trying to steal a kiss, but the teachers would eventually catch up with him and send him to his special room at school. And while he was there, he would while away the hours carving 4-line poems on the walls, and because he didn't have a very good memory even back then, he would pencil the name and number of his girlfriends on the wall. So because of this, John became a legend, and when he graduated, they named this special room the John. I've seen some of your writing, yeah. Okay, well, do you remember the rest of the Jimmy Dean song? And it says, and nobody gave any lip to Big John. Well, again, our John never quite measured up to this. As everybody knows, we can always count on getting plenty of lip from John, and that's helped in his later career pursuits like politics. Well, after graduation, then, John had a small stint in the Army, and he... that's cool. And he returned home to the farm and began farming. However, this was not enough action for John, so he entered politics. And it seems there was never a contest that was too good for John to enter. But as we all know in politics, there are winners and losers, and being a good Republican that John is... What? Oh, I'm sorry. Being the good Democrat that John is, well, I guess you'll be needing this. No, well, we can do that too. There are some donkey earmuffs. And we have something else in there. Oh, there's more in here? Oh my goodness. Oh, and some donkey mittens. So you don't forget. Excuse me. There's something else in here I need. And in a view of the latest election, John. We might have won the popular vote, but we lost. We did. Okay. There you go. You can keep that. Okay. All right. And did any of you hear Gore's very gracious what do you call that? Concession speech that he gave on TV. And he supposedly said all the things right, but John, on the other hand, could have taken some lessons from Gore in this, referring to some of your opponents as low-life, scum-sucking, bottom feeders who couldn't find their butts with both hands. And your concession speeches just doesn't get it, John. But enough about John's careers and past life. Since he's moved off the farm, I've noticed some changes in Clear Lake, and I'm just curious if you have too. It seems that since John has moved to town, some of the smells that we would normally associate with the farm followed John to town. And as a result, I've noticed that the state has put up a gigantic wind farm just to keep you moving across town. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. The other thing I noticed is that there seems to be a small coincidence about the fact that when John moved to town is about the time the state closed the lake for a high bacteria level. Does that have anything to do with John? I don't know. Maybe it's not. But John and I do share one thing in common here, and that's a love of the beach and water. And when John was recently on a trip to Spain, he told me about one of the exploits, and this was in private, but I think we'll share it. And one of
Trudy, leave the room.
Oh, sorry, you brought her, right? Anyway, and one of those exploits basically happened on the beach, and this is the one that stands out in my mind, and it basically involves a rather, well, what should we say, a woman of large proportion, healthy, voluptuous, shall we say her cup runneth over and over and over and over and over. But it seems that John was kind of eager to observe this vision of loveliness. However, he felt a little self-conscious in doing it. So, John, being the good friend that I am, I've come up with a couple of solutions that will help you with this. And, John, if you'll stand up here between us here, we're going to help you. Oh, yeah, come on. You can do this.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. The first thing you can do, John, is walk around the beach. Oh, no. Here you go.
Oh, are these reflectors?
Yeah, well, they can be.
Oh, right.
Now, wait a minute. You're jumping ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So the first thing you... No, John, don't. The first thing you can do is play blind. But the only problem you're going to have to do is learn to control your drooling. That's what this is for. That's good. That's good. I didn't think of that. But anyway, the thing is that sooner or later we know that they want to go into the water. So in view of that, give me back that. We're going to retrofit you here. Okay. In view of that, John, we have the ultimate equipment here. Here you go. Help yourself. There we go, John. And really the only trouble with that is that I'm sure you'll be so excited you'll forget to breathe. Oh, and your waterproof camera. Well, John, I think I've pretty well painted the best picture I can for the short time I've known you, but I know that I don't have to worry about any retribution because you won't remember any of this tomorrow. You see? Exactly. So, John, congratulations on your 61st, 61st, first birthday. And we hope you have many more. Thank you. Well, I don't care. I mean, what can you say?
No, you have to sit down, John. There's more.
There's more?
There's more.
I want to answer. I want to respond to that.
Would you guys have anything to say? Okay. All right, next we'll have Dean.
I didn't have any idea this was all high. Hi, John. Well, I hope it's high.
Well, I feel a little inept because I have no notes. I don't know what I'm going to say.
That's good, that's
But
not.
at any rate, I just wanted everyone to know that everyone here probably has known John and Shirley a lot longer than I have. We moved into their neighborhood about 8 years ago, and you know, it's always a little risky when you move into some place where you don't know the people. So we're wondering what they're like. I remember seeing John and a neighbor out on the ice floe in the spring, sitting with lawn chairs, and it's you know, about 13 degrees, and I asked my wife Jan, I said, Jan, what do you think? Should we put her on the market and get out of here? But at any rate, I've racked my brain trying to think of some things that would you'd all like to hear. You know, some of that real nitty-gritty stuff that you dig into and find out that this guy is this and this guy is this. But you know, I've thought about it, and there's not a whole lot that I can say bad about John Clemons. Really surprised, aren't you?
Yeah.
At any rate, when I met John, we kind of bonded. First of all, number one, he's a good Hawkeye fan. That's important. John and Shirley are good Hawkeye fans, and so are my wife and I. And number two, John and Shirley, they like to sit on the deck, watch the sun go down, you know, thank Lord that they're there, and have a little wine to boot. So we bonded there pretty well too. And the other thing is that John told me he has this beautiful old pickup. And I figured that. And I was considering buying a new pickup, but I figured he saved me $25,000 because I can use his anytime I want to. And it runs real well. I took it to Peoria, Illinois last week. He didn't even know it. But last week, I have a son that lives out in Hartford, Connecticut. And we were out to visit him last week, and we took a little side trip into Boston and ended up also in New York. And wandering around New York, you see a lot of things. And we're talking about this evening, my wife and I, and in New York there are beautiful gift shops, stores. Wandering in this one area, I decided that we'd like to buy something for John for his 65th birthday. So I made as good a deal as I could, and I came upon this watch. Now I know this is not retirement, but it's a beautiful watch, and I got a great deal on it. John, could you read that?
Well, put my glasses on.
What is that?
Well, I don't really know.
You can't read it?
Well, it looks like 9 o'clock.
No, what kind is it?
Oh, the brand.
Yeah, the brand.
Of course. Rolex.
A Rolex.
Looking for the wrong place. Yeah.
A Rolex. So I said to my wife, I really can't afford this Rolex, but it's for John and it's his 65th birthday, and I figured let's go for it. So, John, I bought you this Rolex for your 65th birthday. And actually it's from both my wife and I. And it runs, tells time, and there's a guarantee on it. And I don't have the guarantee with me, but the fella said, when he opened his top coat, he said, "There's the guarantee right there." And so, John, we appreciate you getting older because now you're older than me. And congratulations.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, thank you.
Incidentally, his birthday is the 4th of July. So he celebrates on a kind of a nice day too. Now he shoots off a cannon.
All right, next we'll have Pastor Jim. Keep it clean, we have the kids here.
I'm not used to standing up in front of people and speaking like people who are awake.
Can I take
That is-
Can I take the paper?
Yeah.
I'll leave my glasses on.
I'm really nervous about this because everyone's trying to find all these bad things to say. And this is the nicest, I've been John's pastor for almost 7 years now. And this is the nicest man I've ever known. He's the most, I'd like to say that he's the most generous man I've ever seen. I'd like to say that he's and I'm not like that.
Quit now. Quit right now.
I'd like to say he's one of the most handsome 65-year-old guys I've ever seen. There's a lot of things I'd like to say, but I'm not that big a liar. I had a thing about Big Bad John too, but that's already been taken, so I've got a few more things. John's at the age where he now knows where the yellow went. Some of you younger ones don't think about toothpaste, okay? It's about toothpaste, all right? Yeah. Okay. John's love for cars is pretty well known, and of course, in the times when he grew up on the farm, he learned how to do all the shifting of the gears, and the pickups always had shifters, and everything had shifters. And when he met Shirley, she had a car with an automatic, one of the first automatics. And John took it out one night, and he was told that this was really a hot little car. And was 55 Chevy, right? One of the first Power Glide, Power Packs, whatever they called that thing. And so John challenged the guy to a race. And he got to looking at that, and he put it in L for leap, and he and he saw that car behind him getting a little bit smaller, but then pretty soon it got bigger again, and it was starting to catch him, and so he looked down, and he put it into S for scat. And by golly, he pulled away from that car again. But it was starting to catch him again, so he threw it up into D for drag. Boy, he was really going now. They were going down the road 100, 110, 120 mile an hour. And pretty soon that Cadillac started catching up with him again, so he threw it into R for race. After that, Shirley didn't want him driving her cars anymore, I guess. Well, one of the things I learned very quickly is that John and I have a lot of common interests. And I've really appreciated John's willingness to share some of those interests with his pastor. One of the first things is that his name is John. Our second son's name was John. John likes old cars. I like old cars. In fact, John told me one time, I asked him about these old cars, and use my notes there. I said, how come they're all 50s? Yeah, I think you have 149, but most of them are in the 50s. And he said, well, I don't want to own a car that's older than I am. That's getting harder and harder, isn't it? John and Shirley like rock and roll, and I've liked rock and roll, and I've always wanted to go to the Buddy Holly thing, and to be able to do that, and with your help and your friendship there, it's been wonderful. Somebody was talking about your athletic prowess.
Scott Lyon. Think of his last name.
Yeah. Well, John and I had something in common there too, probably. I think we both got cramps when we were in athletics. Now we get cramps tying our shoes.
They tie him to the bench.
So we had a lot of things in common. John is a staunch Democrat. Well, the commonality had to end somewhere. By the way, I heard Gore got a job. The directors of General Motors have decided by a vote of 9 to 8 to eliminate Oldsmobile, and they've hired Gore to do a recount. See if they can get Olds working again. What was your last class reunion? Did you go to your 45-year class reunion a couple of years ago?
I believe it did.
Okay. This was written by a mathematician in Dow's, is it, Myra? Dow's? And this is probably a good representation of your thoughts at your 45-year class reunion. Sally's got gray hair, Bill's completely bald, Judy's had a facelift, Paul's moving slow, I think he's motor stalled. They all seem to be staring at me with a look of jealousy because everyone's getting older but me. Everyone's getting older but me. I look like I did when I was 23. I've seen some of these pictures. I discovered the fountain of youth and I've been swimming in it. That's why I haven't aged a minute. Gertie's gained a pound or two. Squeezing into that dress must have been a real adventure. I can't understand a word Paul says. Must be his new set of dentures. I know I still look young, but do they want an apology? I'm sorry. I can't help it if everyone's getting older but me. Everyone's getting older but me. I don't look a day over 33. Oh, these pants I bought last year now have a slightly snugger fit, but I don't really think I've aged a bit. Pete forgot his hearing aid. Can't hear a word till it arrives. And Johnny, well, he's outlived more wives than Garfield has got lives. Dorothy won't dance with me. I suppose she forgot her artificial knee. Everyone's getting older but me. I could still pass for 43. Oh, I've lost a few hairs, and what's left is turning gray, but other than that, I haven't aged a day. Arthritis, bursitis, phlebitis, gingivitis, insomnia, bunions, corns, and gout, fibrositis, tendinitis. Try and say that all in one breath. Rocks in the head and stones in the kidneys, every conceivable malady, and they've all got them, but not me. Everyone's getting older but me. You wouldn't guess I was 53. A kid called me Gramps the other day, you know. That sure took a lot of gall, because I don't think I've aged that much at all. What's her name can barely see me, and that old fool over there can't remember my name. And that geezer over in the corner took early retirement. He's filed his old age pension claim. These glory days of high school, they're just a long gone memory for all of these others, except for me. Everyone's getting older but me. I know I don't look 63, do I? Oh, all right, I give up. Put away that mirror. I can plainly see that everybody's getting older, including me. Everyone's getting older, fatter, balder, more forgetful, like tired old me. When I get the floor, I usually have an hour. Speaking of politics, the differences between Democrats and Republicans. When a Republican takes a long time, he's slow. When a Democrat takes a long time, he's thorough. When a Republican won't do it, they're lazy. When a Democrat won't do it, it's because they're too busy. When a Republican makes a mistake, he's an idiot. When a Democrat makes a mistake, well, he's only human. When doing something without being told, Republicans are overstepping their authority. When Democrats do the same thing, it's called initiative. When Republicans take a stand, they're just being bullheaded. When a Democrat does, he's being reliable. When a Republican overlooked a rule of etiquette, he's being rude. When a Democrat skips a few rules, he's just being original. Can I do this last? Yeah, I can do this. When a Republican is over-friendly, he's a drunken bum. When a Democrat is overly friendly, he simply has an appreciation for the opposite sex. Great truths about growing old. Growing old is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Don't we know it? Insanity is my only means of relaxation. You know you're getting old when you stoop to tie your shoes and wonder what else you can do while you're down there. I start wondering if I can get back up. You're getting old when you get the same sensation from a rocking chair you once did from a roller coaster. Perhaps you know why women over 50 don't have babies. They would put them down somewhere and forget where they put them. One of life's mysteries is how a 2-pound box of candy can make a person gain 5 pounds.
That's right.
I'm always saying this. I finally got it all together, and I forgot where I put it. There cannot be a crisis this week. My schedule's already full. Time may be a great healer, but it's also a lousy beautician. I think a woman wrote these. The older you get, the tougher it is to lose weight, because by then your body and your fat are all really good friends. Age doesn't always bring wisdom. Sometimes age comes along. Just when I was getting used to yesterday, along comes today. Freedom of the press now means no iron clothes. Inside some of us is a thin person struggling to get out, but they can usually be sedated with a few pieces of chocolate. Well, John, I appreciate being able to have a part of this. I've appreciated being your pastor these 7 years, and hope that it'll be a lot more years. 65. I'm not too far away from that, but I hope I'm as well preserved as you are.
All right, next we'll have Jerry Kupras.
Oh, hell.
Well, listening to all the other people tell stories about John, it reminds me of one when, I think it was back in '89, and the lake was 48 inches down, and we were neighbors. We were about 4 or 5 cottages apart. And so we all put our docks together so we can get out to get water. We were out like 400 feet or whatever. And a bunch of us were in the water putting the docks together, and all of a sudden we stopped and realized that all the Republicans were in the water doing the work. The lone Democrat was up on the dock. But we're the neighbors that left and moved to the North Shore. So
North Shore.
North Shore, right. But all I have to say is, and I'm not quite to your age yet, but I hear this happens, and it's your courting days are over, your tail lights flickered out. What used to be your sex appeal is now your water spout.
Now I'm going to open it up. Does anybody have any other stories or anything they'd like to share? Yes?
Wayne Belleville.
Can we leave now?
There's 2 stories, and one is more of an embarrassment to Wayne, but you know me, I never embarrass myself. And it's when Wayne was a little boy, after church on a Sunday night, Gil and Ruth, Wayne's parents, went down to John and Shirley's to show movie slides of John when he was in the Army. And the next slide was, John said, here's a picture of
Mrs. Schickel.
Mrs. Schickel, who was the minister's wife. And
it wasn't quite. I came out with a comment saying, that don't look like the preacher's wife.
and it was a topless picture of Marilyn Monroe.
John, are you still collecting pictures of minister's wife?
So every new minister's wife, I always say, and my other story is, and I wasn't in this one either, it was Wayne and Gil, who was Wayne's Dad and John were in a pickup one day, and they were going up the Goodell Cemetery, and Wayne's uncle Herb and Clara, who drove a
52 Chevy.
52 Chevy, and they drove it so slow. You always knew when Herb and Clara were in the neighborhood. And you know, they were sitting there like this. And it was just, you know, it was just the little neighborhood. Oh, there's Herb and Clara, and there's Herb and Clara. And you guys got to help me on this. This is so funny.
Dad decided he needed to talk to her. And so John said, oh, that's no problem. He stops the pickup, puts it in reverse. We go backwards and past Herb and my uncle always had a cigar in his mouth off to the side, and that cigar fell clear to the floor. So John can drive just as fast backwards as he does.
Those are my two favorite stories of John that we can say in mixed company. The minister's back there. But all in all, it's we wish you many more years. Wayne, you guys are neighbors and friends and now business partners. Kinda, sorta. I don't know. But we would like to say happy birthday, and we also appreciate you guys' friendship, and I also appreciate you guys' friendship to everybody else in this room, including my parents. We appreciate it a lot, and thank you. And and I've also, my children, my three boys have also enjoyed being you as neighbors, and I hope that you've enjoyed watching them grow as the years have gone by too. Thank you, and we wish you a happy birthday.
Does anybody else have any other things they'd like to say, or any stories? Grandma?
Just a perfect son. Perfect son. Perfect
When I was
son.
looking for dirt on John, I visited her. You remember what you told me? I said, Gertrude, do you have any stories about John? She said, no, and I tried to prime the pump a little bit. I said, well, what kind of things did he do when he was naughty? She said, he's never naughty. I said, what do you think he was doing when he came in late, when he was supposed to be in? She said, he never came in late. I thought this was going to be the most boring time. But I was surprised.
All right, Al Bars. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Bars.
Can we have the lights up, please? Where's the management? There you go. Here it comes. These, thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my contribution to this wonderful evening. And isn't it ironic, ladies and gentlemen, that as we worry on KCMR, we announce this dismal weekend ahead, and yet this is a beautiful night. And thanks to you, John and Shirley, that we know the frustration that you went through to try to pull it off. And it's beautiful out there. So, but to following Shirley's note, this is your life, John Clemons. Isn't it ironic, ladies and gentlemen, that on this birthday moment comes at a time where as a nation we're really making history in this presidential election and recount fiasco that has been going on for 5 weeks and now is finally resolved. But just as we get in this country of ours, one problem solved, another crops up. And tonight, it's whether this very important question, is John Clemons 64, 65, or is he 66? Now this, I sent out questionnaires, many of you, and you punched them in wrong. The whole thing went haywire. And so I thought, I'm going right to the Supreme Court. And I went to John's mother. And we had a beautiful afternoon together in Thornton at her home, and I went right to the source. And I said, Gertrude, I just want the facts. Just the facts, ma'am, no more, no less. So she got out the birth certificate. Now that she and I have got that settled, and in her confidence, I told her that I was on the spot. I didn't know John too well. And Shirley had given me 5 minutes to turn This Is Your Life, John, and since I didn't know him that well in his younger years, as high schoolers, us guys from Clemmy, we went girling over at Brett. We didn't fool around over at Corvith, Missouri and Thornton, you know. So I didn't really get over here. I didn't get to know John. And so I said, Gertrude, can I call you that? Well, how can you help me out? Fellas, pass out the information, please. Pass out one for each one. These are collector's items, ladies and gentlemen. Only one of a kind. There's not going to be any more printed.
One for everybody, I think, there.
Yeah, except for John. John don't get this. These are, yeah, they're, what do you call them when they're rare? 50, yeah, keepsakes. 50 years from now, these will be valuable. While they're passing these out, young lady, you have a very nice voice, and it's great that you contributed tonight to this great program. You just keep it up.
Thank you.
Now, with the help of the Supreme Court, Gertrude, we've got a pictorial image of John's This Is Your Life. How you coming, Clayton and Red? We got plenty for everybody? Thank you, fellas. Thank you very much. Remember, these are collector's items. Now to start off with, in the rocking chair, I sat there with John's mother around the kitchen table, and I said, well, what about this? Mrs. Clemons, this first picture up there in the, well, she said, I used to sing, if you look at that in the upper left-hand corner, Shirley, I look over your shoulder.
Can I get my glasses?
Yeah, get your glasses. She was saying, yeah, give John one, John. There's things in there you haven't even, you got it upside down there. In a rocking chair. And Mrs. Clements, Gertrude said, I used to sing, rock-a-bye, baby. But she said, John would get so cranky and stuff and get restless. I finally started singing, rock-a-bye, baby. Old rocking chair's got me. She said he started to quiet down, and then she said, then she had to do it, rock-a-bye, my baby, with the Dixie. And old John would go to sleep rocking in that chair. Kind of a Jack Kennedy type thing, you know. Yeah. Well, let's go on. Let's move on here. His first long pants, his first white shirt, and his first tie. And then we go on to his first bicycle. And his brother said he kind of had to share that bicycle with a couple other brothers. You know, so that's then that beautiful picture of his 6th grade picture, that got to be kind of classy. Wow. Yeah, he started getting good looking. Then this high school initiation, Gertrude, you and I had a little trouble with that one. There was an initiation that took place to get into, the 9th grade? High school. Into high school. And I thought that the guy, John, you could have been Miss North Iowa. That one picture's a beauty, I tell you. And then, all right, then we got the 9th grade graduation. Is that where he's double-breasted, I believe, and he's got his, no, that's his band uniform. Yeah, and the stripes running down the side, see that? What kind of an instrument did you play, John?
Played the cornet.
You're kidding. I didn't know that. That's
You
beautiful.
thought I could just play the wind chime, huh?
Ah, boy, you learn something every day. Okay. And look at those shoes on that fella. They're wingtips of some kind of or another. We didn't have those in Clemmy, I know that kind of, we couldn't afford that kind of stuff. All right, then John loved to climb, his mother said. He was fearless. And here's a picture of John putting up their first TV antenna on the farm. Somehow he got astraddled over a limb, and you notice there he's got one foot on the house, the other on the ladder, and he got kind of hung up on a limb between his legs some way. And his brother, you see him coming up there with an axe. So it's either unhang John or something. I don't know. We don't know how that came out, do we, Miss Clemens? All right, then we'll move on. He asked his mom about John being in service, and all Gertrude could say, as well as my son, but after he come home, he said that, Mom, he said, this is the same color and fabric you see there that General Patton and General Eisenhower and General MacArthur wore. And my gosh, his mom was really impressed, I'll tell you that. Now, that ain't the end of the story, though. As Paul Harvey would say on the radio, and as Al Bars would say on KCMR, that ain't the end of the story, not by, no sir, not, life ain't ended, John, because there's John with, let's see, with, he and his mom on the kitchen, at the kitchen table, after Shirley and John were married, and he's standing there every day. Can you imagine this, ladies and gentlemen? He's given the orders of the day in hand each morning as he did the breakfast, telling us what to do and how to do it. The best thing Gertrude said was to ignore the whole thing. Now, and these, now folks, you can, again, I mentioned that you can take these home. They're a commemorative issue, once in a lifetime, if you will, on this collective issue. Now, John, what's ahead? It ain't a pretty picture, John, I'll tell you. Isla and I had put together, would you stand up a minute? Surely. I want to let John rest here. No, you sit down. Oh, okay. You stand up, John.
I want you to stand up and anyways.
You won't listen, you started rapping that.
I'm slow.
Yeah, well, that's
I heard
all right.
somebody else say that.
Now, you started rapping that because...
Untie it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, or just slip it off. That's okay.
That's the quickest.
Now, you're 65 and I'm an authority. I'm over 75. And so I'm telling you, things ain't
I want to see
gonna,
what's coming.
things ain't gonna get any better, John, I'll tell you that. So you're starting to rapping that.
More?
Yeah. In the next 10 years, John, there ain't much to look forward to, I'll tell you. But at 76, then it starts getting better again. So if you start with, but at 76, you'll start getting childish again. And that ain't all bad, I'll tell you that. Now, Isla Jean, I just hit 76 and she's getting so excited about that.
Oh, look at her grin.
Yeah. So she has in this box some of the things that from 65.
Slow down or keep going?
Yeah, no, this is good. Don't be breaking that, John.
Colin broke his.
Now, we got it upside down, do we?
I don't know. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. Okay, now just a minute, hold that on there. Now, the first thing in this box, now these are sentimental things that she got for me at age 65, and I'm passing them on to you. You know, because I'm back in my prime again. All right, the first thing is, now you gotta put these on. Is you're gonna start losing your hair, John. So you gotta put this. This is size 7. Okay, that's good enough for now. Falling hair. That's it. Put that heifer on.
We'll get that baby on there. Is there front or back? Inside, outside?
At your age, it ain't gonna mean anything.
That's good.
All right.
With the foot, over the base.
gotta have it on, John.
Okay.
One more time.
Try again.
Hold it on. Okay, now I think we get it on. I heard something rip. Pull that heifer down. There you go.
I'll just stand up straight. Can't look down.
Now, after that, after falling hair, you'll have a slow, your eyes will start going bad on you, John.
Okay.
So,
I'll take these off.
yeah, that's right. Throw those in the box.
Here, I'll hold them.
Put these on. These are extra strong. Extra strong. All right. Then, John, I don't go by this, but Isla says this all happened to me. Your hearing's going to go bad.
Huh?
So you hold this up to your ear. You know,
This is my work. This is my tractor here.
All right. All right.
Is
and
that
then,
on the sheet?
Yeah, it's on the sheet.
My head's
The last thing is,
I'm not gonna put it
yeah, so you don't,
Don't put those in. I didn't plan to tonight.
I'll just hold them there and kind of look proud. Now, what's so scary about this whole business? Hold those teeth up. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, what's so scary about this whole thing is that we're just down to the neck. Now between, are you paying attention? Now between his neck and his belt line, now we're gonna, well, we started to put that in the box and she broke down and cried. But all hell can break loose, John. Heart, lungs, liver, and
I can't. These are free.
just listen. Okay. Now, between your belt line and your knees. All right.
Monica took care of that.
Your kidneys, they are in that area.
They're close.
Intestines, 4 miles of them. 4 miles of
Measured them?
intestines. Yeah.
Where's the tape measure?
Well, and let's see, no, don't mix me up here. Now you're, and then that other business, whatever you call that at Thornton. I don't know, between your and your knee. All right, and hips and arthritis. Oh, Lord. Then we go from there down your ankles, then your toes.
Yep.
Ingrown toenails, that kind of stuff. Now, what we're saying and what Isla's really saying is that, really considering the shape you're in, you're in pretty good shape. So, was that the last page? That's it!
Thank you. Well, if there's nothing else, I think we should give a round of applause to my mother Shirley and also to Connie, wherever she's at right now, setting this all up. And thanks to everybody else who could make it tonight and who helped. And there's cake.
Cake.
So.
And then he can open his presents.
And then you can open, yes, go ahead.
Well, I want to thank Shirley and Connie and everybody for coming. I'm glad that Ken and Trudy could come down. Thanks, Trudy, for singing that song. Glad Mother could be with us tonight, and Aunt Ruth and Sister Janet, Brother Larry. I could have a little time of rebuttal here. I still have that picture, Wayne. And Colin, it was August of '78 when we golfed first. What? August of '78. When we golfed first at night, when we first initiated this.
Did I say it eight?
Well, does the patent run out?
Did I say
Does the patent run out after 20 years? That's my concern. I do want to thank everybody for coming. It's been just a lot of fun and very enjoyable, and I was totally surprised. I knew we were coming. Shirley's birthday was Dean.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Want something?
Jan just wanted me to ask you, how many Viagra were in that box.
Where's Monica? We'll have to see. She checked them out for me. But thanks for everything. It's really been a surprise. And when I came in and people taking pictures, I was told there was an automobile dealership here tonight having a party, and I thought people were taking pictures. And Dick did a wonderful job of training, I thought. He taught me how to do everything proper for the state, so if anybody thinks I'm not doing it proper, blame Dick. But thanks a lot for coming, everybody, and Ken and Trudy for coming down. It's been extra special. Thank you much.
Take my screen. I mean.
Oh, this could be fun. Now don't be shooting this off inside. Don't play with this in the house, Dad.
It goes on the floor. Okay, now step on it. Step on it.
Hey, you can try to get inside here.
Well, I think the vote, this one says, who's grown up?
Do they go at an area? I could just bend over.
Yeah. See if you get that table over there, John. This one says, happy majority, John.
This table over here?
Yeah.
Am I pointing in the right direction?
Yeah. This is Johnny Copper. How's that corner table over there, John?
Keep that telling.
Oh, okay. Put that back. Came on low.
Look for the farthest table.
Yeah.
Go. I could use that out in the lake.
Cherry.
Yeah, we can do that.
It's gonna be dangerous with that thing. Yeah, I know, it's good. He's good. I can see him sitting around the lake doing that.
Paul.
You did.
You got clear the far
Open up, John.
Oh, he came off. Put together.
John?
Yes.
I've got to work with him. That's right now.
You need to be ready. Oh, absolutely.